One of these is called the Billionaire Loafer, and the other one costs only $100. Can you tell which is which?
Quiet luxury, stealth wealth, old money aesthetic, or whatever they want to call it this month, has been shoved down our throats for the past year and a half. The most popular style of footwear for this trend has got to be these loafers. They go by many names, including billionaire loafer, yacht shoes, sneaker loafer, white soles, but they're most popularly known as the summer walks. Loro Piana were the first ones to release these all the way back in 2005, but they didn't gain mainstream popularity until 2019. Now, in 2024, it seems as if every brand has a variation of these exact shoes. So, in this video, I figured I'd test 4 different loafers at 4 different price points, so regardless of budget, you can be prepped with the shoe of the summer. Before we get into it, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It really goes a lot further than you know and helps the channel out tremendously. So I've been wanting these loafers for the longest time, but held off partially because of the price point and partially because I've been gravitating toward wider legged, slouchier trousers for the past few seasons. Newly inspired by every other guy rocking these on a recent trip to France, and with that old money aesthetic being on the rise, I figured it was the perfect time to pick some up, taking advantage of the cheaper European prices while being overseas. In typical fashion, I'll run through the design, the materials, the fit, and build quality in order to find the best loafers on the market and your best value for money. For timeless items like these, I look at it from a cost per wear perspective. I don't mind splurging on something that will not only last me longer and end up being cheaper per wear, but also look a lot better in the process. Suede has a rep of being hard to maintain, but a bit of precaution goes a long way in caring for these. All of these shoes were sprayed with the waterproofing treatment recommended by the Loro Piana staff to prevent any water stains. Also, I store all mine with shoe trees to help the shoes keep their shape and absorb any excess moisture. I'll have my top picks for each linked below in case you're interested. Let's get into it. As always, we'll start with the cheapest and work our way up. These are the Tyrwhitt slip-on loafers, coming in at $129. They can typically be had for much cheaper since Tyrwhitt is always running some sort of promo code. I was able to snag these for 20% off and free shipping, so it's definitely worth your time to ask the customer service rep for a code. Getting into the design, the Tyrwhitt loafers are the chunkiest of the bunch and in turn more structured. They feature a 100% pure European suede upper and are shown here in the light gray colorway. They're also offered in tan and royal blue. The soles are stark opaque white compared to the translucent off-white color featured on the rest. The upper suede panel seems to be rolled over and then stitched to the bottom panel, giving it a moccasin-like look with a thicker roping compared to the rest of the loafers. It gives the illusion of the uppers being slightly recessed compared to the rest of the shoe. The inner is fully lined in leather. It looks like a proper fusion of the classic American boat shoe and the summer walk style loafer. You typically want these style of loafers to fit slightly tight out of the box. Since most of these are made from thin suede, they're expected to stretch and mold to your feet as you rack up some miles in them. If they're loose or just right out of the box, they could be unwearable after they stretch and eat up the back of your heel if you're planning on wearing these sockless, as most people do. I'm typically a 9.5 or a European 42, so I opted for a size 9 since Tyrwhitt only makes them in full sizes. Out of the box, these were fairly loose, with the left pair being slightly looser than the right. The leather on these is thicker than the rest of the shoes here, so I would assume they wouldn't stretch as much, but I'll have to report back in the comments after a few more months of wear. Comfort-wise, this style of loafer are pretty comfortable by default, so I'm definitely being picky here. With the shoes being a little loose, I was expecting them to rub on the back of my heels a lot and cause blisters, but I was pleasantly surprised that this wasn't the case. The sides of the shoe are the firmest of the batch, so they may take slightly longer to break in. The inner sole is relatively plush, which adds to the level of comfort. Construction-wise, these are actually pretty solid for the price point. They're made in Portugal and are cemented together, which just means that the upper is glued to the soles. No fancy welting here, but that's to be expected with majority of these rubber-soled shoes. The soles themselves are on the firmer end, which makes sense as these are the heaviest shoes here. The upper is hand-sewn and the inner sole is made from a combination of textile and leather.
Overall, these aren't the worst. They're built really well. However, aesthetically, they're not my personal favorite. That being said, if you have slightly wider feet, prefer the little chunkier aesthetic, or just kind of want to dip your toes into this old money trend without spending a ton, these aren't the worst option for the price.
Next on the list, we have direct-to-consumer Oliver Cabell. Originally, I wasn't going to include these since I didn't know they existed, but while doing some research for this video, these came up and looked promising at $179. These are mostly sold out for this season, but should restock prior to next summer according to Oliver Cabell if you choose to pick them up. They normally have a promo code for 20% off for signing up for their newsletter, so that should make these a bit more competitive. The design of these follow a more traditional route compared to the lines of Charles Tyrwhitt. It features a very low-cut silhouette with streamlined panels. Branding is limited to the inner sole and this blank fabric tab on each shoe. The overall shape of the shoe is wider, rounder, and less tapered in the toe box compared to the likes of Scarosso and Loro Piana. While this may be a great thing for people with wider feet, it does take away slightly from the aesthetic. The Suede is a full grain leather sourced from Italy and is finer and much less shaggy than the Charles Tyrwhitt loafers. The loafers are available in 3 colors, a chocolate as seen here, a chestnut, and a slate gray. Getting into the fit, I went true to size with the size 42, and these fit like a glove out of the box. They have stretched a bit since then, but in all the right ways to help these feel even more comfortable. There's no heel slippage when walking in them, and I'm sure the thinner, less structured sides help with the almost non-existent break-in period for these loafers. Construction-wise, these are also cemented. The soles are more traditional for these types of shoes, featuring a soft, Italian-made rubber outsole that are translucent but a bit cooler in color compared to the Scarosso and the Loro Piana. The shoes themselves are made in Portugal and the overall finishing is good. The inner is lined in Italian calfskin leather and the footbed is made from foam. They're the second heaviest ones here.
Okay, so definitely a big step up from Charles Tyrwhitt, especially if you can snag these around that $160 price point. They're built well, they look great, and this color in particular I've been reaching for a ton. It just seems to go with everything, this chocolate brown. Let's see what's next, but this is definitely a big step up.
Alright, so for the $300 to $400 price point, I considered a few brands: Scarosso, Aurelian, and Suit Supply. After handling the Aurelian loafers in store, I found the texture and quality of the suede subpar, so I decided against including them here. Recent reviews highlighting negative customer service and return experiences with the brand also made me a bit cautious. I actually really like the Suit Supply ones, as they're practically dupes of the Loro Pianas in terms of design. However, the suede wasn't as soft and buttery, and they offer limited color options. Ultimately, I decided to try the Scarosso for some variety. Scarosso is a quintessentially Italian brand, with all their shoes crafted in Italy using Italian materials. They're definitely a if you know type of brand, flying under the radar for the most part, yet frequently grazing red carpets and magazine covers once you start noticing. These are the Scarosso Ludavico in blue suede. These loafers retail for $340, though I've spotted them about $100 cheaper on online retailers such as Tyrwhitt from time to time. Scarosso occasionally offers a 10% discount for email sign-up, so it's worth checking their website before purchasing. The typical Italian design is evident in the Ludavicos. They feature a narrow shape overall and an aggressively tapered toe box, making them look effortlessly elegant and versatile. The silhouette most closely resembles Loro Piana among all the options here. I chose the navy blue color, which pairs well with lighter denim, but Scarosso offers 16 different colors ranging from neutrals to brighter, fun options. The suede looks and feels high quality, even finer than the Oliver Cabell's, and with a softer and more buttery feel than the 2 previous pairs. The soles are similar in color to Loro Piana's and have a cool grippy design. However, they lack the spot on the heel for writing your name that all the others had. I went true to size with these, opting for a size 42, which fits slightly tight just as I wanted. While there wasn't much heel slippage, the back of my heels did get a bit irritated when I first wore them for an extended period of time. I suspect it's because the inner beige suede patch sits slightly higher than the navy suede outers, causing my heels to chafe. The other shoes are all level throughout, which prevents this issue. Construction-wise, there's limited information on the suede and sole origin, so I can't provide you guys with too many details there. When I reached out to Scarosso, they simply stated that the shoes are handmade entirely in Italy using the finest and highest quality suede and rubber available. The loafers are fully lined inside, making them more structured than the Oliver Cabell's, but less so than the Charles Tyrwhitt. They retain their shape exceptionally well, and they're also the lightest of the bunch.
Okay, as you can tell, I really like these, but I'll save my final thoughts for the wrap up.
Okay, so before we get into the final pair of shoes, I wanted to take a second to talk about properly styling these and give some inspiration on the best way to rock these loafers. You can practically wear these shoes with any shorts or pants, but I think the width of your pants will greatly determine the effect the shoe has on the overall look. Luckily, our video sponsor Asket just launched their updated trousers with different fits to cater to all your needs. If you've been watching, Asket is a long-time favorite of the channel and the menswear world at large. so when they reached out to sponsor a video, it was an immediate yes on my end. I've been a supporter of the brand since way back and only accept sponsorships from brands that I have tested and wholeheartedly stand behind. Their whole ethos is to end overconsumption of fast clothing, so they make some of the highest quality men's basics out there. They don't launch clothes regularly like most other brands do, but instead have one permanent collection. The fact that they launched a new trouser fit system is actually a pretty big deal. They spent months going over customer feedback from previous fits they offered and worked closely with their manufacturers to develop these new fits to match any individual's fit preference. Starting with their chinos, they now have two different fits, the slim and the regular, in order to better accommodate all body types. The slim features a higher waist and overall narrower cut with a tapered leg, giving you a very streamlined look. The regular, which I prefer for my body type, features a slightly higher waist and is straighter and looser throughout. You can easily see the different vibes you can have by pairing these loafers with different fitting pants. The slimmer pair looks much more formal with the loafers, while the regular one gives you the option of dressing them down with the loose cuff. The chinos themselves are made in Portugal with a 98% cotton and 2% elastane Italian fabric. They're shown here in beige but are available in all your staple colors like black, navy, khaki green, and taupe. Moving on to their denim. I was pumped to see that they actually released 3 different fits here. Unlike the chinos, I prefer a variety of fits for my denim depending on the look I'm going for. Asket's denim now comes in a slim, a regular, and a loose. They all feature a mid-rise, but the slims have a tapered leg, the regulars are slightly looser in the thighs and have a straight leg, while the loose are the more relaxed, reminiscing denim from the 90s and early 2000s. I personally prefer to pair the slim and regular fits with the loafers and save the loose fits for a more casual sneaker look. These are made in Italy with some of the highest quality denim fabric available. The wider 2 fits are 100% cotton, but the slimmest fit features a unique 1.5% elastane, 98.5 cotton blend, which gives them just the right amount of stretch for the added comfort. These have become my go-to pair of denim as of the last few months and only get better the more you wear them. Be sure to go check out the chinos and denim as they're staples in any wardrobe, and thanks again to Asket for sponsoring this video. The Billionaire Loafer, aka the Summer Walks. Loro Piana first introduced this iconic loafer in 2005, but they didn't gain popularity until 2019 when they started marketing them as quiet luxury. It was once a shoe you could easily walk into a store and pick up on any given day, but that's no longer the case.
Bro, these shoes have been so hard to get. We just landed in Paris and we're driving here because they said they have some in stock. But with all our luggage.
On a recent trip to Europe, I kid you not, I visited 7 different stores in order to find these, but they all said they were sold out and they typically ran out a few hours after they opened. So on the final day of our trip, I was finally able to snag a pair. These sell for about $1,060 in the US after taxes, but I paid about $800 after the lower retail price there and the VAT back. I went for a light wood smoke color so that I could easily dress them up or down, but I don't think you could go wrong with any of the colors that Loro Piana offers. Their website currently has 21 different colors, all within the realms of neutrals and earthy tones, making them extremely versatile. Ironically, these European classics were inspired by the American boat shoe. Imagine those Sperry boat shoes you probably owned in the early 2000s had a more posh and snooty cousin. The Summer Walks are those. They're more refined than a sneaker, but not quite a dress shoe. As all things Loro Piana makes, these are sleek with a minimalist design, but unlike all the others we saw, they feature a small Loro Piana monogram on the heel. It's subtle, but quiet luxury aside, at this price, I definitely want people to know what brand I'm wearing. They're the narrowest of the 4 pairs, but by far the most comfortable and breathable because they're made in Italy from 100% suede and completely unlined. This allows a shoe to mold to your feet as soon as you slip them on, kind of like a sock. It has a strong taper which gives the illusion of a narrow foot without suffocating your feet. The toe isn't too round or too pointy, and I'd say it's the perfect almond shape for this style of loafer. Getting into the fit, I opted for my usual size 42, and I think that was a perfect choice. Every single Loro Piana sales associate I talked to said I could only know my true size when I tried these on because they're so unique, and the sizing also differs depending on what material your Summer Walks are made of. Right out of the box, these feel a little snug on foot, but have since loosened up with wear. Everyone warned me that since they're unlined, they're going to stretch a lot than the others. However, after a lot of wear, they still hug the feet well and don't cause any heel slippage when walking. They're also the most comfortable pair due to their design and don't feel heavy at all on feet, which is expected since they're the lightest ones here. Regarding the construction, they're not much different than the Oliver Cabells or the Scarosso. They're cemented together, which isn't surprising considering this is a common practice with rubber sole loafers like these, but it's just something to note that the construction doesn't change dependent on the price. Loro Piana does materials well, and this is no exception. This is by far the softest, most buttery suede I've ever felt in my life, even more so than the suede on jackets in my wife's handbags. The suede comes with a treatment that makes them slightly waterproof and stain resistant, but nothing that would protect your shoes from a ton of water. At this price, I didn't want to risk anything, so I still gave them a good spray with that waterproofer I mentioned earlier. These were originally created selfishly for the Loro Piana brothers' passion for sailing. The white sole is made from gum rubber from rubber trees, carefully chosen to leave no scuffs on yacht decks. This obviously makes them a lot less durable than leather soles, but considering that these shoes are made to lounge on beaches and boats, it makes sense. However, many people have reported that the soles will yellow over time, and the suede can lose its shape, giving these loafers a 1 to 2 year lifespan with regular wear, which is pretty disappointing. The bright side is that it is possible to get the soles replaced, which could get you a few more years of wear. A local cobbler should be able to handle this with no problem. Overall, as with most things with Loro Piana, quality and material are going to be amongst the best in the world, which should be expected. However, it comes with an eye-watering price tag. Loro Piana wants these to be exclusive and not easily accessible, which is why they've continued to increase the price of these gradually over the years with no improvements to the shoe itself. I do have to say though, these are the most comfortable of the four I mentioned, and their sleek design whispers old money. So let's finally tally it all up. If money isn't an issue, there's no debating the Loro Piana Summer Walks are superior in every way, but they are not 3 times as good as the runner-up. The best value for money pick would have to be the Scarosso Ludavico in this case. I know $340 is still really pricey for a pair of loafers, but they get you a well-constructed, Italian-made shoe with 95% of the Loro Piana look and feel at almost a third less. That being said, if you're not a snob about the overall shape and silhouette like I am, or are just looking to upgrade your summer footwear without splurging, I think the Oliver Cabells put up a very solid case at under $200. The Charles Tyrwhitt, while they're built really well and come in at a very good price, the shape just doesn't do it for me and makes them one of the least versatile pairs I own. I'll be sure to update you guys on how these have held up in the comments and on Instagram in a year's time, so be sure to follow me there for that. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.